What is corruption? Corruption is the abuse of power within hierarchies to obtain gains for individuals or organizations. Corruption practices include bribery, fraud, coercion, and threatening violence to steal, influence decision making, or avoid obligations. Corruption is often linked to illegal economic activities such as drug, human, and armed trafficking, as well as human rights violations. Corruption can occur on a grand scale, involving high-level positions and large sums of money, or on a petty scale, involving low-level positions and a smaller, more frequent transactions. Corruption exists in many countries where humanitarians work. People may become corrupt to protect the power dynamics that uphold their positions and livelihoods. In some contexts, people may have no other choice but to engage in corruption to survive. Some elites may feel their corruption is justified out of a sense of superiority and entitlement following historical events. However, corruption itself can undermine public confidence and drive conflicts, instability, and crises. Humanitarian actors should consider corruption and power dynamics when planning a response. For example, corruption may be present in local supply chains and government practices. Humanitarians need to be aware of the risks that practices such as collusion between business and officials, unfair pricing, and kickbacks pose for their operations. Corruption can also exist within humanitarian organizations, for example, in financial management practices, site selection, procurement, and supply. Humanitarian corruption undermines the effectiveness and reputation of humanitarian organizations, locally and globally. To reduce corruption, some humanitarian organizations lobby state actors to outlaw corrupt practices, help build the anti-corruption capacities of governments and civil society, and raise public awareness. To tackle corruption in their own organizations, humanitarians may establish zero-tolerance policies, internal anonymous reporting systems, or dedicated anti-fraud and anti-corruption units to analyze risks and ensure compliance. Corruption presents major ethical challenges for humanitarian actors. Sometimes officials may ask humanitarians for money to access affected people. Humanitarian organizations may be discouraged from exposing internal corruption scandals, as this may reduce donor funding significantly. In general, fighting corruption requires long-term coordinated efforts that aim to transform organizational cultures through consensus building, rather than imposing top-down punishments. To learn more, visit humanitarianencyclopedia.org.